Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
Right now at 10, they're a sign of the season, but they've disappeared in several Connecticut towns. The reminder about political signs tonight, the penalties you could face if you remove them.
Also ahead, as the temperatures go down, the price of warming your home is going up. Find out what you can do with record high home heating oil prices here in the state.
And a fear from the pandemic proving true. Kids' test scores dipping, learning falling behind. The results of a concerning report tonight. We begin at 10 with concerns about damaged or removed political signs with about 2 weeks to go before Election Day. Good evening, I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. Thanks for joining us. It may be the way that some people are showing they disapprove of a candidate, but anyone who vandalizes or steals political signs could be charged with a crime. Fox 61's Tony Black joining us live in Enfield tonight, where some concerns about political signs have been raised. Tony?
Yeah, Ben and Jen, these signs outside of this business here in Enfield behind this truck, they've garnered a lot of conversation about which political party was allowed to have them up after security footage shows some being taken down. Now, there are both Republican and Democratic signs up once again, but for those who willingly destroy or remove political signs, punishment is possible.
I know a lot of people don't like the signs on the lawn. They don't like to be, showing who they're picking for.
It's that time of year again when the leaves change color in Connecticut, and underneath those falling leaves, there's more color, showing a sign of the season.
Not against anyone, it's just that I'm favoring somebody.
Support for political candidates are spread out across Enfield lawns and the state of Connecticut.
I put them up because I think midterms and local elections are vital this year.
People use them to showcase their support for a candidate and what that candidate stands for. Christina Lang is an advocate for voting and has the sign out front to prove it.
I believe signs stay up where people give permission.
But these signs are what some don't like or approve of. The removal of signs outside this Enfield business earlier this month have stirred up conversation about which party was allowed to display their candidates. Both Democrats and Republicans now have signs posted up together. Damaging or vandalizing these pieces of property happens every election cycle. Milford Republicans posted more than 60 signs of theirs have disappeared this month.
I figure if the signs were put in a place where the property owner gave permission, that the signs stay there.
A project done by the Connecticut General Assembly Legislative Library Research Office found there are penalties for sign theft. Those who steal them could face larceny charges, punishable by up to 3 months in prison, up to a $500 fine, or both. They could also face trespassing charges with a possible $2,000 fine and/or a year in prison. Enfield neighbors like Roger Russell say it's out of line when people do that.
I don't think that should be done. I don't think that's a part of it. That's sour grapes at best.
Now, that research project also found some states like Rhode Island and New Hampshire and also Maine have penalties for altering with political messages. There's nothing that specific here in the books in Connecticut. Enfield residents say if someone disapproves of an opposing message, talk about it instead of acting. Live in Enfield, Tony Black, Fox 61 News.
All right, Tony, thank you. And as we're just a little more than 2 weeks out from the midterms, a new poll is out there showing where the races for governor and U.S. Senate stand tonight.
Yeah, that poll from Quinnipiac University shows Governor Ned Lamont leading Republican Bob Stefanowski by 15 points. The governor led Stefanowski by 17 points in Quinnipiac's poll last month. The poll also has Senator Richard Blumenthal leading Republican candidate Leora Levy by the same 57-41 margin. Senator Blumenthal also led by 17 points in last month's Quinnipiac poll.
Well, it's been a rainy and gloomy day throughout the state of Connecticut. We all know it. Here's a look from Plainville from this afternoon. Yeah, that's in Plainville, but it basically looked like that wherever you were in Connecticut. Wet and slippery if you were out on the roads. I want to check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. It felt like a Monday, right?
Yeah, it's a Monday. And Rachel, we still have showers coming down in the state right now, right?
We do, and not only through the evening tonight, but off and on through Tuesday and even Wednesday as well. Although I do want to say it's not going to be quite as wet as today was. And this round in particular that's coming through now through the overnight will mainly be focused for central and western Connecticut. Eastern areas, you guys are still seeing some fog, some mist, some drizzle, but it's pouring right now for New Milford, for Newtown, for South Roxbury, and this is heading up. So if you're in Goshen or Litchfield, basically anywhere in Litchfield County where it's still relatively dry, the rain is moving back in for you. Cromwell and Middletown getting some heavy rain. That's heading into Hartford, Bloomfield, and Windsor next. And you can see more showers that are kind of building here, seemingly out of nowhere off of the Atlantic Ocean heading north. So we're not done just yet. Areas of patchy dense fog. You'll see Chester is seeing below quarter-mile visibility, and that'll be in place overnight and into tomorrow morning. So here are those showers, chance for a locally heavier downpour. By tomorrow morning, we're waking up with temperatures in the 50s to right around 60 degrees. It's damp, it's cloudy, there's showers or fog or mist, but as we head through the afternoon, I do think it starts to trend a bit drier. Temperatures will climb between 65 to around 70 degrees, and then we'll see areas of patchy fog develop again as we head into tomorrow evening. Similar day on Wednesday before the sun comes out. We'll take a full look at the forecast, really time out those rounds of rain for you coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, new at 10, home heating oil prices have skyrocketed over the past few months, reaching almost $6 per gallon.
Federal energy leaders say much of that price spike can be attributed to the war in Ukraine. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin live in Hartford tonight with why some residents say paying that much is just not sustainable. Brooke?
Well, the price of home heating oil is the highest it has ever been here in Connecticut. In just the past year, it's gone up more than $2 per gallon. West Hartford homeowner Sharona Resnick-Kravitz has been paying for oil to heat her home for more than 35 years.
I mean, this is New England. It gets cold here. We're cold.
Sharona is a widow living on a fixed income. She says before her husband passed away, they shared the bills. Now she is having to make sacrifices. How are you preparing and trying to figure out what can you sacrifice at this point?
Food. I go to the grocery store and I'm very frugal about what I buy.
She tells me at $6 a gallon, buying oil has become a huge burden.
And I work part-time, and so, you know, and I'm thinking of going back to my other part-time job, which I had before COVID. And so I'll have 2 part-time jobs in order to just survive.
Sharona says she is keeping the heat on low and adding blankets to her bed. Clear River Oil President Dan Rolfe says that kind of conservation is key.
You've got to get a tune-up. You have to get an annual efficiency tune-up. You've got to make sure you get some weather audits on your home, and just be smart about, you know, not leaving windows open, not leaving doors open, not leaving garage doors open. We got to move into a mode of conservation.
Rolfe tells us the average home uses 800 gallons of oil per year. That's almost $5,000 at the current rate. A price tag too hot for many homeowners who just want to keep warm.
We're just going to put the old conservation hat on this year. And, you know, we've been through this in the past. We've had the energy crisis all through the 70s on up through now at different periods. And we've just got to work on conservation efforts.
And if you're struggling with any sort of energy bill, then there are resources out there to help those that are qualified, and we have those listed on fox61.com. Live in Hartford, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61 News.
Brooke, thank you. New at 10 tonight, a teen in Norwich is recovering from minor injuries tonight after he was hit by a car while at his school bus stop. Norwich firefighters say a 13-year-old boy ran in front of an oncoming car across Central Avenue just before 8 o'clock this morning. The boy said his back hurt after he was hit and he was brought to Bacchus Hospital. The car driver was not injured. Norwich police are investigating the crash.
And new at 10, classes ended early at Ansonia High School today after concerns about a possible gas leak. Ansonia's superintendent says the fire department advised the school to evacuate the building after the report of a gas smell nearby. Students were dismissed because it was unclear how long they'd have to wait outside in the rain. Fortunately, there was no gas leak and no one inside was in any danger. Well, a new report tonight confirms what many believed could be the result of school closures and remote learning. Elementary-age children have fallen behind.
The nation's report card tested hundreds of thousands of 4th and 5th grade American students. Fox 61's Sarah Sanchez joining us live in the newsroom tonight with a closer look at how students ranked and what this means for learning as a whole. Sarah.
Well, the National Center for Education Statistics says no state was spared from learning setbacks during online learning. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona calls the results unacceptable. The report shows a major drop-off in math and reading comprehension specifically. These scores were compared to scores from 2019. A major point of concern testing 4th through 8th grade is that 8th grade math scores fell by a staggering 8 points, which is the largest decrease ever reported. I spoke with the president of the Connecticut Education Association, Kate Diaz. She says the test scores weren't surprising for her or her colleagues. She says teachers have known students have fallen behind because of distance learning. She says she's still hopeful because she knows Connecticut teachers have been working hard and they've been adjusting curriculum to make up for the learning that students have missed along the way.
The pandemic has been difficult. It's been difficult for our students. And that's not a terminal situation. That is something that we are really capable of recovering from, but it's going to take time and it's going to take commitment on the part of our school districts, our parents, our students, and our teachers. And I think that this is something that we can turn around and we can see change and see improvement. But it's going to take a little bit of time.
When I asked Diaz what she thinks can be done to solve learning disparities in Connecticut, she says it's really about support. So support for our students and support for teachers. She says districts need to focus on smaller class sizes, recruiting and retaining teachers, and equitably funding all school sites. Support from home is also another major piece of this puzzle. If your child is struggling, Diaz says the best thing a parent can do is have a conversation with your child's teacher. For more details on that report, you can find the details of those test scores at fox61.com. Live in the newsroom, Sarah Sanchez, Fox 61 News.
Sarah, thank you. Litchfield County is seeking another spike in opioid overdoses with 3 reported deaths in the 24 hours. This comes after a spike alert was triggered this summer. A dozen overdoses were reported in 1 week, including 2 people who died. The Litchfield County Opiate Task Force says it's now using resources to try and stop the epidemic in the area. That includes the group's van, which brings Narcan, fentanyl test strips, and addiction treatment information to towns all across Litchfield County.
Well, new at 10, a Ledyard man is facing an intentional cruelty charge tonight after being accused of taking heat and food away from his wife. Ledyard police say they received a complaint that 58-year-old Robert Barnett removed thermostats and food from their home and took away his wife's ability to make money. He was previously arrested last month after officers say he physically removed his wife from the house. Barnett was arrested Friday and released on $25,000 bond. And new at 10, Milford police are looking for this suspect in a burglary at Dockside Brewery in Milford. Officers say it happened back on October 2nd. It's unclear what was taken in the burglary, but anyone with information should call Milford police.